Have you ever felt like there's a hidden force shaping the world around you? A force so powerful that it can influence the laws you live by, the products you use, and even the way you think. It's like there's a puppet master pulling the strings, making things happen on a grand scale. Now, what if I told you this isn't just a feeling, but a reality? And what if I told you that one family, the Koch family, could be the puppet masters behind the curtain? Let's unravel the Koch family's influence over America. But before we begin, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Who are the Kochs? Hold on to your seats, folks, because we're diving into the story of a family that's as American as apple pie and as controversial as politics. Yes, we're talking about the Koch family. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let's start from the very beginning. Fred C. Koch, the man who laid the foundation for this empire, was an American chemical engineer and entrepreneur. He developed a groundbreaking method for refining heavy crude oil into gasoline. Sounds like a simple science project, right? But it was so much more. Fred's innovation was so revolutionary that it caught the attention of major oil companies. And guess what? They weren't happy. They sued him for patent infringement. Imagine being so good at what you do that you scare the big players in the industry. But Fred was no pushover. He fought tooth and nail in court for 15 years and emerged victorious. That's right, he won. But the legal battles made it tough for him to attract US customers. So what did Fred do? He took his technology to the Soviet Union. But wait, Fred grew disenchanted with Stalinism and returned to the US soon, becoming a fervent anti-communist and a founding member of the John Birch Society. Now let's talk about Fred's legacy. His 4 sons, Frederick, Charles, David, and Bill. These guys were no strangers to family drama. They litigated against each other over their interests in the family business during the 80s and 90s. Can you imagine suing your own brother? But 2 of them, Charles and David, stuck together and took Koch Industries to new heights. By 2019, they were the only ones of Fred's 4 sons still in Koch Industries. And let's not forget that Koch Industries became the 2nd largest privately owned company in the United States in the same year with revenues of a jaw-dropping $115 billion. But the story doesn't end there. David Koch passed away in August 2019, leaving Charles to carry on the family legacy. And boy, has he been busy. Under his leadership, Koch Industries has expanded into various sectors. We're talking about a conglomerate that's into everything from oil and gas to consumer goods. You might be drying your hands with a paper towel made by a Koch Industries subsidiary or filling your car with gasoline without even knowing it. So what's the secret sauce that makes the Koch family so incredibly successful? Is it their relentless drive, their knack for innovation, or their ability to adapt and evolve? Whatever it is, one thing's for sure, the Koch family has left an indelible mark on America, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Are they puppet masters of the American dream, or the epitome of capitalist success? The answer might just depend on how you look at it. They're big in politics. Alright folks, just when you thought the Koch family story couldn't get any juicier, it does. So you know how they've built this colossal business empire, right? Well, they didn't stop there. Nope, they took that business acumen and plunged headfirst into the world of politics. And let me tell you, it's like they've got the Midas touch for politics. Everything they touch turns to, well, influence. Now here's where it gets interesting. Way back in 1980, David Koch ran as the Libertarian Party's vice presidential nominee. Guess how much of the vote he got? A measly 1.1%. But don't let that fool you, that was just the beginning. David and his brother Charles realized that they didn't need to be in elected office to wield power. Oh no, they found a way to become the puppet masters behind the scenes. They started pouring money into politics like it was going out of style. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. And what did they get for it? A political machine that could rival the entire Republican Party. You see, they didn't just throw their money around willy-nilly. They had a plan. They wanted to limit government, lenient immigration policies, free trade, and, of course, limited corporate regulations. The Kochs have been major players in the oil industry for decades, and they've used this position to influence policies that directly affect their bottom line. They've been so effective at this that it's hard to tell where their business interests end and their political agenda begins. But don't think this happened overnight. Oh no, this was a calculated move, years in the making. In the early 90s, when President George H.W. Bush announced his support for a treaty limiting carbon emissions, the Kochs sprang into action. Why? Because such a treaty could have been a death blow for their oil profits. They sponsored a conference called Global Environmental Crisis, Science or Politics, which featured speakers who cast doubt on the reality of climate change. This was back in 1991, folks, way before climate change denial was a thing, and they didn't stop there. Over the years, they poured millions into lobbying efforts to kill any legislation that could place a price on carbon pollution. They even managed to hijack the Tea Party movement to serve their agenda. Imagine having the power to not just influence but steer a whole political movement. And all this to protect their fossil fuel profits. What's even more interesting is that their influence isn't just limited to the United States. They've worked to push back efforts to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement, which could have affected their business of importing oil from Canada. Yes, their reach is international. But just when they thought they had figured it all out, along comes Donald Trump. The man turned the Republican Party upside down, and suddenly the Kochs found themselves at odds with the new direction the party was taking. But don't count them out just yet. These guys are survivors. They've been through family feuds, legal battles, and political wars. They know how to adapt, and they're not going anywhere. Actually, the Koch network, led by Americans for Prosperity Action, has been quietly amassing a war chest to influence the 2024 presidential primaries. Their goal? To stop Donald J. Trump from winning the Republican nomination. Yep, you heard that right. They've raised a staggering $70 million to make sure Trump doesn't get another shot at the presidency. But why would they do that? Well, it's not just about politics, it's about business. The Kochs have always been savvy about intertwining their business interests with their political agenda. They've spent nearly $500 million supporting Republican candidates and conservative policies in the 2020 election cycle alone. And a big chunk of that money comes straight from Koch Industries, so when Trump's policies started clashing with their business interests, they knew they had to do something. And here's where it gets even more intriguing. Two groups closely affiliated with Charles Koch contributed $50 million of more than $70 million that has been raised. Charles Koch himself is a major shareholder in Koch Industries, which contributed $25 million to Americans for Prosperity Action. Another $25 million was donated by Stand Together, a non-profit founded by Charles Koch. It's like they're playing 3D chess while the rest of us are still trying to figure out checkers. Giving back or gaining more. So they're big in business and politics, but did you know that they're also heavy hitters in the world of philanthropy? David Koch was a philanthropic powerhouse. He pledged or contributed more than $1.295 billion to medical research, education, arts, and public policy. And where did all this money go? Well, let's just say if you've been to New York's Lincoln Center or the Metropolitan Museum of Art, you've probably walked past a plaque with his name on it. He even had a theater named after him following a whopping $100 million donation for its renovation. Talk about leaving a mark. But David Koch wasn't just about the arts, he was also deeply committed to medical research. He made major contributions to places like MIT's Koch Institute for Integrative Cancer Research, Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and even Stanford University Hospital. But why, you ask? Well, David Koch himself battled prostate cancer and survived a near-fatal plane crash. Some say these life-altering experiences fueled his desire to give back. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Was it a sense of mortality that drove him to become one of the world's top philanthropists? Now, here's where it gets a little murky. While he was hailed as a modern-day Robin Hood, giving away billions to arts and medical research, there's another side to this coin that's not so shiny. You see, David Koch's philanthropy wasn't just about giving, it was also about gaining influence, that is. David Koch's philanthropy has also been criticized for being a smokescreen that obscures the family's less savory activities. For instance, while David Koch generously funded cancer research, Koch Industries has been implicated in giving cancer to its workers. A case in point is Donald Carlson, who worked for the Koch refining company. Even though his tests showed increasingly serious abnormal blood cell counts, the company didn't inform him until years later. He died in 1997 at age 53. His widow ended up suing Koch refining company and settling out of court. Moreover, Koch Industries had to pay $20 million in fines and reparations for concealing information about benzene contamination at a refinery in Texas. These are just a few examples of the numerous environmental violations the company has been guilty of. So while David Koch may have been a generous donor, his philanthropy also served to deflect attention from the darker aspects of the Koch empire. So the next time you fill up your gas tank, vote in an election, or even choose a brand of paper towel, remember, the choices you think are yours might just be influenced by the Koch family, and that's food for thought. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and sharing so we can keep bringing more content like this. See you next time.